Hey, welcome everybody. It's Wednesday, Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's
Happy
Day.
Valentine's Day. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
Hey, living the dream.
Aren't we all? We wake up screaming every morning.
Somebody's dream.
It's so
Uh,
much.
anyway, so for Valentine's Day, we decided to do a sci-fi romance, and that's exactly how it is on IMDb, by the way, listed.
Yes.
A sci-fi romance. We are doing 1984's very popular film, Starman, starring Jeff
Yeah.
Bridges
And
and
it
Karen
had been a
Allen.
hot second since I'd seen this one, so
Yeah, it's been a
it
while.
was fun to go
I've
back
seen it
again.
back in the day, so it holds. We'll talk about that. Before we get into that, I think you have some news, I believe.
I
So
do
why don't we
have
do the news?
news. I only have
Hey,
three
Bill.
pieces of news. Well, four if you count the fact that Resident Alien, all the news tonight stuff I love. Resident Alien, which I love, starts tonight, and The Bad Batch, which I love, starts next Wednesday. So, news that Mary Beth loves. You never forget your first. MMORPG, that is. My first was 2004's City of Heroes, which got terminated. It got ended back in 2012. Well, kids, guess what, everybody? City of Heroes is back. The server Homecoming is now, they now have the license and they are free to play. So if anyone out there wants to play City of Heroes with me or wants to check it out, DM me, we'll set that up. And there's like a saga, like a whole story behind City of Heroes and when it was shut down, when it was still profitable, and how it came back. So if you guys ever want to hear that story, let me know. But Rizzo, do you have a favorite RPG that you play, or no,
Oh,
you're not into
Fallout.
that?
That's pretty much it.
Just Fallout?
Fallout 76, yeah, which had its own kind of
Wait,
growing
didn't you
pains.
play Halo though? I thought you played
I did play
Halo.
Halo, but Halo was a single. Well, I mean RPG. I think of them as yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did play.
First person
I
shooter.
play
Yeah, they're more
Halo
like first
up to
person
Halo
shooters.
4, and then I didn't play after that any of the other ones subsequently. But yeah, oh yeah, as far as there's lots of games. I was a big fan of Diablo, but the last one, just this current one, just doesn't have the same. I got bored
No?
with it. I don't know why.
Ah.
Got bored with it
You'd
pretty quick.
probably
So
you would get bored with City Heroes. I have to admit, it's a 20-year-old game. It's a 20-year-old game, and I've been playing it for the past week. The actual gameplay, it's kind of a grind. It's kind of like but the
yeah, I don't
fun
like
part of
grind.
City Heroes, it's a grind. But the fun part of City Heroes was how incredibly customizable your costume was, and you could write your own
You
bio,
liked it
and
from a
you could
fashion standpoint.
no, not well, fashion, and then your character's built like your archetype and your power sets were pretty. It was really good at mixing matching. So no heroes are the same. So when you walk through Atlas Park and you see all the other heroes, no one is the same. It's actually really cool,
Right. Right.
and it
No,
had a
I
good
know I'm
community, or at least
familiar
it
with
did
the
back in
game.
the
I'm
day.
familiar with the game. So
Yeah.
yeah,
All
as
right.
far as I
Okay.
mean, I was playing Starfield, which kind of was a bit of a disappointment. I was hoping for something maybe, but I'm hoping Bethesda, like with Fallout 76, where when it started 5 years ago, it was kind of boring. People were calling it a walking simulator. It was like it wasn't what you were used to if you had played Fallout 3 or 4 by any means, or Fallout New Vegas. So you had a lot of, because in those games are single player, they're not online.
Yeah.
Those games
Yeah.
had tons of NPCs that you interacted with lots of missions and things to do and go search and whatever. Whereas Fallout, I think they were looking initially that it was going to be a lot of PvP, which player on versus player fighting, and it didn't really work out that way. There's still that dynamic in the game, but once they started adding more quest lines and events that were interesting and rewards for those events and
Yeah.
NPCs that you could interact with other than a robot that would just sell you stuff.
Just yeah.
It's taken off, and I think they've really expanded it, so it's a much better game than it was 5 years ago. And if they have new plans now, they're expanding the map
No, that's cool.
this spring. They're adding another whole section, and they have added other little things that you can fly to. You can now go to Philadelphia,
These
and you
games
can
are
go
massive.
to Atlantic City and run missions.
These games just
Well,
crack me
so,
up. They're
yeah,
so
it's just so
massive.
so yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there. And the other thing I just heard rumor again, I'm not 100% sure, but Xbox will be releasing their games that are exclusive to Xbox on other platforms. So you'll be able to play, say, Halo on PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
They're getting rid of the model of exclusive.
I want City of Heroes and World of Warcraft like in my Oculus. I want to be in those worlds. Like truly first person.
Like I've
awesome.
played what's the one Elder Scrolls and stuff that on the VR. And because they can't get the resolution as high in those VR games as they can even, it's just doesn't work for me, quite frankly. I think you gotta actually start swinging the sword. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not like
really. Yeah. Suddenly you really fight. Yeah. I gotta pull my, yeah.
I mean, it's true because I have a Quest 3.
Suddenly it's less attractive.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff is pretty cool you can do in VR, as you know. It's like, but I was playing that Asgard. Was it the one that comes with the Quest 3 that they've been advertising?
Oh yeah. It was something about Asgard.
Cool you are swinging a sword and you're like fighting these guys. And
that's cool. I mean, that's cool.
It is cool. It's a little but like, what's the funnest game we play on Quest? What do we play?
Mini golf. We play mini golf.
Mini golf's the best game on there. I'm sorry.
It really is.
Just get Walkabout Mini Golf.
But I gotta admit, I play to be social, so mini golf is all right. Let's move on. News piece number 2, and I've only got 3 tonight, so let's move on. News piece number 2, things that make my heart pitter patter. The Sports Bowl game was last weekend, and Tay-Tay's boyfriend did real good. But that's not why I watched it. I watched it for the ads, and I know, right? Rizzo's like, I watched it for the ads, and yes, I did see the Wicked ad, whatever. I did see the Twister ad. I knew right away it was Twister. And did you go cow? We did. We were like cow.
I thought one of the best ads because it doesn't seem to me as the ads we used to get back in like the 90s
were funnier,
were better stuff. I don't know what it was. They just seemed better. They're funnier.
Yeah.
But the funniest one I still think was the what's the State Farm one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and he couldn't say neighbor. I don't know why I thought that was funny, especially when at the end they kind of brought in Danny DeVito to do it for him. I thought that was
because he couldn't say neighbor.
He couldn't say neighbor.
They pronounced neighbor, which was weird. So anyway, the preview that I was super pumped was of course Deadpool 3. I was so psyched. Of course, this movie is going to even further bring the X-Men and cement them in the Marvel universe. Clearly, the plot, because he goes, "I'm Marvel Jesus." Clearly, the plot is Deadpool saves Marvel, but is he gonna like fix Marvel's mistakes by fixing the multiverse? Is he gonna run around and fix all the movies that we've hated so far?
That would be hysterical.
And did you notice there was the TVA in the trailer? Like the TVA is who knocked on the door at the beginning of the trailer. Right. So is there going to be a Loki cameo? Like, I don't know, man. This could be awesome. Like if this is really meta and like truly breaks the fourth wall and like looks at Marvel, like it could break your brain, but it also could be
at the end of the second movie where he fixed his own.
Yeah, he ran around and fixed his own timeline. Yeah,
he fixed his own stuff,
including the other Deadpool.
Yeah, he kills the other Deadpool. Which is hysterical.
God, I can't wait for this movie.
I thought that was, aside as good as that movie was, that was like the best part of the movie. Was him just, especially they got Ryan Reynolds picking up
the whole movie was
script
good.
The script for Green Lantern just kills him.
But he's so he breaks. He's meta because like there was one scene in the first movie and someone's talking about Professor X and he's like, which one, Stewart or McAvoy? Like he's very like, I don't know, man. This movie's gonna be awesome. I'm joking. So psyched for it.
Breaking it because even when he's saying like we couldn't afford more than 2
X. You couldn't afford, exactly.
Nobody's in here. Of course, in the second movie they did the gag where the door opened and they're all behind him and he didn't see him and then they closed the door.
Yeah.
Including he couldn't go in. Hiding from him, like. So that was kind of funny. Yeah,
it was awesome.
You gotta love Deadpool. If you don't like Deadpool,
I
don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. So, anyway, all right. My last news for the night. My one true love. Well, I was gonna make a stupid joke like if Star Trek's my husband, then Star Wars is my boyfriend. But no, it's just one giant polygamous pile of love for sci-fi. But Star Trek news tonight. Disco, it comes out April 4th, and Lower Decks, Mike McMahon was just on Trek Culture teasing some amazing cameos for Lower Decks season 5. But the question I have for you guys tonight is Star Trek for sale? No, not exactly. But there's been a couple news articles that are making me go, In an effort to cut costs, Paramount Global laid off 800 employees yesterday. Why? Well, my friends, Paramount Global is for sale. The three entities all vying to purchase it are Skydance Media, led by David Ellison, Byron Allen, the media mogul Byron Allen, and Warner Brothers Discovery Plus. This has weird pros and cons, and I almost didn't bring you this article. Like for a minute, I was like, what does it really mean for Star Trek? But it might mean something for Star Trek because all of these guys, like David Ellison and Byron Allen, they're all saying like, yeah, we're going to sell off some intellectual property. We're going to sell off some stuff. We're going to, we're going to chop it up and we're going to do this. That means Star Trek could be could get purchased by something else and be under new management. And the weird thing is, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I listened to Darren, huh?
Disney can snatch it up.
Yeah, Disney will snatch it up, and we will all be Disney princesses. I was listening to Dr. Min on the Weirded Beardos, which is his podcast with Kirk Thatcher, and Kirk just was talking about meeting Stashwick and go, "Oh, I love the character. Are we ever going to see it again? Legacy, whatever." And Stashwick saying, "Oh, I don't know nothing." And Darren piped up and goes, "Yeah, no. They're trimming back and they're cutting things and they're ending things because they're about to get sold." And I was kind of like, oh, maybe this is more of a news article than perhaps I should talk about this. What do you think, Rizzo? Like if Paramount, Paramount, just so everybody knows and everyone listening, Paramount Global is CBS, BET, and everything it owns, which is a ton of stuff. VH1, Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, Paramount Plus, Paramount Film Studios, probably Viacom stuff too, since we're now Paramount
Viacom. So yeah.
Think, right? Like it's a ton of, like, you guys, Paramount Global is a ton of stuff, and what's actually being sold is National Amusements, which is okay. There's the Redstone family; they own National Amusements, and National Amusements owns Paramount Global. Just so you guys understand. So now, I'm sorry I interrupted you, Rizzo. What do you think if this sale goes through? Is Star Trek in trouble, or will they recognize a golden goose when they see it?
I mean. I guess the question is how well is the franchise doing overall? Are these shows? I mean, did they end Discovery because of this one's been running a while and we're gonna try to lean our Star Trek lineup to make it more attractive or whatever? I don't know. Or was it just not getting the ratings? I don't know. Is Strange New Worlds getting the ratings?
I don't know. They just.
I'm not talking about within our group. We all hear people that watch it, but I'm talking about the average viewer
out in the world.
Trek fan. Are they pulling those people in? And I would.
That is a great question.
No,
that's a great question. But if what Darren says is true, that they're trying to trim and cut everything, they're standing up Section 31. They're standing up Strange New Worlds season 3. Lower Decks is probably in the can already. Disco's the only one that's really getting cut, and there is talks about JJ Trek, but
Star Trek is their flagship show.
Star Trek is the goose that lays the golden egg. They would be wise to not cut it.
It's their flagship, so they're and they know that that's probably their cash cow to some degree, because let's face it, they can make a piece of crap and people still watch it.
We'll still watch it because it's
Star
Trek.
They sold off the kids show there. The cartoon.
Yeah, they sold off Prodigy. That's true.
Sold off Prodigy.
That's
they got rid of that. So here's my thing. Whether another company swings in and buys it, like, I don't know if Disney would take it because they already have Star Wars. If they would even be interested in it. At this point, I think it can only be a good thing for the franchise, unless whoever buys it just takes it and says, "Well, we're doing it."
Here's the three.
Wait, let me just say why, and because I think at this point Star Trek needs fresh blood at the helm. I mean, this is my personal old man shakes fist at cloud. I haven't been really excited from Lower Decks. The trend that Star Trek has been going in overall has not been great. So maybe a little turnover would be good. I don't see the genre like going away. I don't see somebody spending a lot of money to buy it and then going, unless they, they buy the whole Paramount thing and they go, yeah, we just don't give a crap about Star Trek. So
Yeah.
And then we have 10 years or whatever it was since Enterprise, between Enterprise and Discovery, we have another very long, empty,
Yeah. Well, just on the news now, as I'm just looking at the news right now, as you were talking, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway sold a third of its stake in Paramount Global, according to a regulatory filing on Wednesday. That's today. So you guys, the three entities that are up, like that. So this is a headline: which vultures are going to walk away with Paramount? The three entities that are possibly vying for the sale, and what they're going to, and this is what they claim they're going to do with it. Skydance Media, owned by David Ellison, he said he would merge Skydance and Paramount, because Skydance produces like Top Gun Maverick and Mission Impossible stuff.
And they did the JJ Trek films too, didn't they?
I think they might have. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. They might have. They want to merge those two and then sell off other Paramount Global assets. Which ones? I don't know. The second one is Byron Allen Media. He wants to sell the Paramount Film Studio, sell some of their real estate and some of the intellectual property. He'll keep the TV channels, including the streaming service, and run them on a more cost-efficient basis. Just so you guys know, Byron Allen has unsuccessfully made bids on things like Disney and the Denver Broncos in the past. And then the third one is Warner Brother Discovery, which I think would be the best, like their best bet. However, they are debt-ridden right now, so they can't go too far. All they want to do is merge. They would have the opportunity to expand their content in their libraries. It would consolidate costs and potentially create a super streamer capable of rivaling Netflix, Disney Plus, and Amazon Prime. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. There was nothing in the news this morning when I tried to, get updated on this. I don't know what's happening, and I don't know what the best for the best for Paramount is
until it's done deal, probably, because we're so and it is what it is. There's always these kind of rumors, so I'm not going to even begin to worry or care at this point what happens at that level. They may just break everything up and sell it to different parties. I'm sure they'd rather sell it as a giant one, but
it would sell Star Trek.
That's a big, what you described, that's a big giant conglomerate there to swallow, and only another giant conglomerate could buy it. So either they break it up to smaller entities, or like Disney's like the only thing on the planet that could buy it. From a media standpoint.
If Warren Buffett just sold a bunch of shares and it's all down, maybe buy a couple, because if they get bought and things are rolling again, maybe it'll go back up. I don't know.
To some Doc Alexander saying you don't need to do blood. If you have Terry and Dave Blass. Yes, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about up at the top, and I'm not.
Up at the top of the food chain. We know we need who's the bucks here, guys. Which makes me wonder, like, it's being run mostly by Secret Hideout now, right? Like,
I don't even know.
Doesn't Mr. Van Sanders work for a Secret Hideout now?
I don't even know.
Like, I'm so confused.
I don't know anymore.
Why can't we, like, Star Trek just break off and be its own entity, like, and go with Secret Hideout and be its own thing?
I don't know. That's way above my pay grade.
Probably not big enough for that. Probably can't afford it.
Like I said, it's the only thing. If they try to sell it as one giant conglomerate, and I know nothing about business, so let's speak this firstly clear that I have no idea what I'm talking about. It just seems to me only another giant. You have this giant shark. You need another giant, bigger shark to swallow it. To buy it.
Really big shark.
I just don't see there's that many media companies that could probably pull that off.
Yeah,
which is a problem when you start having them buy up all these little ones. Now you have, which is what we always hate, is monopolies. So we're gonna have Disney Super Plus.
Honestly, it's kind of already a monopoly. I mean, yeah, it's kind of already a monopoly. John Van Ghosteen
catalog, and next thing you know, they'll buy.
Yeah. We have a new viewer, John Van Ghosteen. He's saying Star Trek's going strong. That they would be foolish to get rid of that cash cow. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it is a cash cow. I think it's the crown jewel.
I would like to see the numbers. I want to see what the actual numbers are.
Here's the thing. Let me just read you one little clip about
and people that are going back and watching it. Because remember, Michael Kuda had told us the way they rate it is if people watch multiple times the same, like they go back and watch the episode again.
So the question was raised: how did Paramount Global get into the situation? Like, how do they get where they're not so good and they need to be sold? As Hollywood business models continue to evolve to become more focused on streaming, Paramount, a company still largely reliant on network TV, cable channels, and theatrical releases, is getting boxed in from all sides. They're just not flexible enough, and I don't think they poured into streaming what they needed to pour into streaming, which is probably why Michael Kudo was telling us, watch it all twice, watch it all 3 times to get those numbers up. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Because we know that there's been plenty of great shows that got one season and they canceled it for whatever reason, because either it wasn't popular enough. I don't know. Cowboy Bebop, the live action version on Netflix.
Oh, Jeff Rubel's gonna save us. Yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's a great example.
It was done so well. If I don't know, maybe there's some hardcore Bebop fans that didn't like it. I guess there's always those people. But I was like going, this is done so good. I want more of this. Yeah. And nope. And yet, you know, they make season 2 or 3 of Another Life, which is a horrible piece of crap.
Yep.
So anyway.
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to take so long with the news tonight, but I wanted to talk about. I definitely want to talk about this because I think it's going to have an impact one way or another. All right, kids. What are we drinking tonight while we're talking about Starman?
So, it being Valentine's Day, I want something very Valentine's-y.
Valentine's Day.
So, pomegranate martini. And basically, the sugar is obviously for the rim, and that's what the lemon juice is for. So,
that looks really good,
mix
actually.
That sucker up with sugar and pour it in there. So, yeah, probably pretty good. Vodka, Cointreau.
Delish.
Sounds good. Anyway.
Anything with sugar is good with me.
Anything with sugar. 1984, this movie comes out. Now, interestingly enough, this script and another little alien script were presented at the same time, and they went with they passed on E.T., and that became, of course, a huge hit.
It was at the time Dark Skies or Night Skies or something. He was calling it something different.
So
and they were like, "It's a kid.
They didn't want to come out too soon with another lovey-dovey E.T. type movie, but they did come out with this in 1984. I thought, this is it's John Carpenter as a director. It's so not a John Carpenter film, so not horror in any way. It doesn't really even feel like a John Carpenter film to me. It's just like you'd never know that he directed it if you didn't know that he directed it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true.
So, so the interesting thing, this is like one of the only science fiction movies that ever got an Academy Award nomination. Jeff Bridges for Best Actor, which was, again, nobody in science fiction movies ever got a nod for anything.
He lost to F. Murray Abraham, which is fine.
He did lose. He got nominated. So this was very popular, and I remember. I don't remember if I saw it in the theater. I probably did, because that was the era when I just went to the movies constantly. I was in high school still, so it was like every weekend you're at the movies just because you went, because there was a movie on, so you went. But it was very popular. I remember renting it in VHS. It's a good movie, even if you're not into the romance end of it. It's a kind of a good story. Again, it makes humans look like idiots.
Well, we kind of are. So
but that's what I was saying. I'm literally watching this movie again, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Always with the military wanting to blow everything up, and the cops acting like idiots. And,
I gotta admit.
But you look at the news today, and you're like, oh yeah, this would totally happen.
This is where, I have to admit that's true. A couple of the characters were very stereotypical, I guess we could say, or just very. You could totally foresee what they were going to do, where they were going to go. But you know what? That's okay. At the core of it, the general gist of it was really quite sweet. There are a few alarming moments in it. Like, what? Why? How? When? Where? Okay.
Well, there's a definite level of suspension of disbelief in this film.
You think?
First of all, this starts out with, this is supposed to be, it was Voyager 2, which launched in 1977.
Yep.
So this is not even 10 years later. And this allegedly it made it to another planet. It didn't even make it out of the solar system at that point. So, well, no, because they kind of show it going to like a planet.
I thought that was like the mothership. I don't know.
For some reason. It was. They would have been better if they had a ship like me.
Because it had the like Saturn-esque ring around it.
Which is what on that. Because at one point he starts singing "I Can't Get No Satisfaction," Rolling Stones. Sorry, Dennis Hostin, if you're watching. That was never on Voyager 1 or 2. That
No,
song
it wasn't.
it was actually
It
Chuck
was Johnny
Berry.
Be Good.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Chuck Berry. So sorry, but anyway, little license.
Jerry is saying his love for Dutch apple pie comes from this movie, and Bill says he and Mary went to see it on one of their first dates. Oh my
Jerry, I
god!
got to ask you on that point. You never had Dutch apple pie, and like what you said, I got to try it because of the movie, or was there some other connection to Dutch apple pie and the movie?
And what differentiates Dutch apple pie from regular apple pie? Let me go because now I gotta know.
I think it's the way the crust is. It's got the crumble.
But anyway, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's crumbles. Delish.
Getting over a cold this past week. Anyway, it is good stuff. I'm not arguing the point. So,
but anyway, back to the movie.
Back to the movie. So those of you that may not know, the basic premise is that these aliens intercept Voyager 2, which had the, if you guys are aware of history, the platinum, I think it was made out of platinum or something, album that had greetings from all over the world in different languages and so they intercept and they decided one of the things is please come visit us, which is an invitation to which there was controversy about sending that up there. Basically, saying, we really
come visit. Please come meet us.
Maybe we don't want you to come meet us. Anyway, so they send an emissary to, and of course we shoot it down. As it's coming into the atmosphere of his spacecraft, he lands in Wisconsin instead of Arizona, and he, as just an energy ball, I guess, finds Karen Allen's house, her dead husband, who's Jeff Bridges, a little DNA from his hair, creates himself as a human, freaks her out, and then she ends up taking him to Arizona, maybe, which I still say to this day, whenever I talk about Arizona, I always say Arizona, maybe.
Arizona, maybe. Arizona, maybe. Arizona, maybe. That particular crater is the Barringer crater, or it's called Meteor Crater. It's a real place. It is privately owned to this day, which I personally find a little bizarre. Seems like it should be a public park, but what do I know? But it is the place where astronauts sometimes go to practice, like just kind of moving, you know what I mean? Like driving their adorable little lunar vehicles and moving across a rocky surface, and they practice in their great big huge bulky their spacesuits.
So is what your word you're struggling for.
Is the word I'm looking for. Yes. So
that's the premise, and of course they are chased by the government and police the entire way until, of course, there's at the end when they finally catch up to them. And of course we have the scientists from SETI, which is the search for extraterrestrial life, intelligence, excuse me. Who is kind of trying to get them to stop chasing him and actually talk to him. Excuse me. But and he's that actor. I love that actor. What's his name?
The guy that played the
guy that plays Sherman there, Charles Martin Smith.
Charles Martin Smith.
He was in the Untouchables, which just came out a few years later.
He's in a bunch of stuff,
and he always seems to have a cigar. I don't know why. Just not the kind of guy you'd think would have a cigar, but.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't look like very cigar, does he?
No. Anyway, he plays the kind of the geeky scientist, but and trying to get the guy from the State Department there to not kill him, because that's all we want to do is we meet new people, but then we want to kill them and take them apart. So I don't know. So that's the basic story, but it's a love story, of course, as she originally feels that he's kidnapping her, because he kind of does, forces her to take him to Arizona, maybe, and they go across country, and then of course him looking like her dead husband, she eventually falls in love. And
he says why he did it, but she never explains to him, hey man, don't be looking like our dead people. We don't know,
but that. I mean, he did it on purpose because he thought.
Yes, he tells her why he did it,
and which is true, I guess, to some degree. And then he gave her a space baby. So at the end,
and then he gave her that was the one moment that was a little bit cringy. I mean, maybe that flew back in the 80s, but
Well,
That was
he
a
did say
little cringy.
if you don't want it, I can
Yeah,
stop.
she's like, I can
Like,
stop this. Yeah, which
yeah,
is
he's like, just so you
fascinating.
know. But I guess they had already had this intimate. Yeah, I know.
Sure.
Today it would could be considered. Well, she did
So
have
weird.
consensual sex with him. She just thought she couldn't get
Other
pregnant.
than that, yeah, other than that, it was an adorable movie.
It is.
The two leads did a great job. I think of the two, Karen did the better job trying to make that change. Her arc was from being afraid of him
Terrified.
and not wanting to go with him. Remember, because
Right.
she stops, like she kind of not wrecks the car, but swerves the car and gets out yelling help, help, and
Yeah.
to the truck driver. But she goes from that all the way to, feeling really sorry for him and wanting to help him get home
Right.
and kind of loving him, I guess. So, yeah, you'll
Yeah,
have a baby. It'll be a
it was
special
at the
baby.
truck
We needed
stop.
a part 2. We needed to meet this
Yeah,
kid,
well, we
right?
did kind of because we had the TV show. This
No, we
actually
had the
made up
TV
that
show. That's
this
right.
on
There
the
was
television
a
was so
TV
popular.
show.
It started.
I
Yeah. So that was, and basically that was him coming back and finding his son, and that was not obviously played by Jeff Bridges, but Robert Hayes.
Yes, from Wings. You guys doing better from Wings.
No, not on Wings.
The TV show. Was he on
wasn't
Wings?
on Wings, the TV show. No, he was on Airplane.
Oh, Airplane. Who was the hell? Oh, who was I watching that was in Wings? Was he?
You're thinking of Tim Daly,
who was just in something recently that we watched. Maybe I watched it.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway,
Hey, Chris,
moving on.
I'm apologizing. I'm
You're
having
right.
a wicked dry.
Yeah,
no, I've had this cold, and my throat is going wicked dry talking.
Oh, you're like me. I'm just still hacking. I've been coughing since Christmas, and that's not cool, guys. Like, I need for it to end.
I had the funeral. If my dad died.
Hi, Chris. Happy Valentine's Day, Chris.
I was interacting with a lot of people in Connecticut, so I'm sure I picked up some influenza.
That special Connecticut influenza.
Connecticut influenza. Oh God! So again, anyway. Very enjoyable movie. The interactions between them are excellent, and it's fun. It's really, if you haven't watched it, it's not a bad watch.
It's okay. It's okay. You just got to remember it's 1984. Set your mind back there.
It does. It has a very 80s feel to it.
Very 80s feel to it.
They said, like, again, Jeff, I said earlier, he was nominated for a Academy Award for this. Didn't get it, but he did work really hard at it. He actually went and studied ornithology and the behavior of birds and stuff to kind of get that kind of jerky. He looked almost robotic, but I guess he was trying to that he wouldn't humans. He was
trying to do that the way birds kind of.
I thought at one point he kind of contradicts himself because he starts talking about. She asked him, like, what's it like out there, and he said, oh well, everybody basically gets along, and there's all just basically one whatever, it was nice. But then he said, he's talking to the other guys, there's a lot of life forms out there, and some of them are quite hostile. So I'm like, well, that just kind of contradicts.
Well, his people, I think his people are peaceful.
He
and then this other,
people, though. He said everyone out there is kind of what he said.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I understood it to be his kind.
That's, I think, probably what he obviously meant, but that's not really what he said. So,
but not all the kinds who are out there, and apparently in this universe there are many kinds out there. So
I did like the effect at the end where the ship was just a ball, but it was a complete mirror.
I like that too. Did you know they got sued for that? That some other movie. Hang on, I wrote it in my notes. Before I go to my notes, Bill, why are you not allowed? Oh, because it was your date movie. Oh, okay, I got it. All right. There was a lawsuit about that, which I thought I wrote in my notes. Another movie called Wavelength that came out in 1983 had the exact same thing, a spherical kind of mirrory light ship that came down over Meteor Crater. And they sued the Starman production. They're like, you copied us. And it was a federal lawsuit. The suit was dismissed. And with this finding that a spherical UFO is neither new idea nor unique. So, oh well, I guess.
Yeah. So another reason you were talking about John Carpenter, one of the reasons I think they say this in the Big Trouble in Little China the audio commentary track, is that he
Mhm.
purposely wanted to direct this movie because the box office for The Thing was terrible, and
Yes.
he needed to make that.
And
He needed to kind of make up
did
for that.
he also do something like Christine for TV or something that was Stephen
Um,
King for TV, right in the same area? Because he was trying to recoup from The Thing. Let me pull him up real quick on IMDb. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He was worried that, and you know what? This was so good. And with Jeff Bridges getting that Oscar nod, he was back, baby.
yep, it brought him back,
He was
and
never really gone.
yeah,
We
no,
loved The Thing.
he's a
Come
very
on.
talented director, so we know where he's going to
He's
be.
amazing.
He was
Did you
looking at
find the
Tom
music?
Cruise.
Well, you wouldn't know.
He was looking at Tom
Mhm.
Cruise for the lead.
He was looking
Instead of Jeff
at
Bridges,
Tom
but
Cruise.
he
He
couldn't do
looked
it because he
at
was doing
Kevin. Yeah, he was doing Legend. He looked at Kevin Bacon. Now, to me, Tom and Kevin were both a little too young for this. Like, I don't see them.
Oh yeah,
But he
Tom Cruise would
also,
have been way too young. I think. I think Jeff was a good choice.
yeah, I do too. They also looked at an actor named Philip Anglim. You guys who are Star Trek fans or Deep Space Nine fans know Philip Anglim as Vedic Bareil or Burrell,
Yeah,
Bareil, whichever one. The male Vedic who was kind of quasi in love with Kira.
right.
That Kai Wynn, that she eventually like frames him and to get rid of
Right.
him so that she can be Kai. Yeah, that actor. They looked at him for this too. So yeah. The studio wanted the studio thought this would have legs, meaning they thought this would have, and it kind of did, I guess, if it had a TV show. But they thought it would go further than where E.T. went. And E.T. had legs all over the place. E.T. had toys. E.T. had games. E.T. had videos. Right. E.T. had, everything. E.T. made
This
so
was
much more
not a
money.
children's movie where E.T. was more of a family movie. This really
that's
wasn't
true.
a family movie.
It really wasn't.
There was like, I mean,
what was it actually rated? They didn't have PG-13 back then. It was PG, I think.
It was just PG because PG-13 didn't come out until after the second Indiana Jones.
It was just
movie.
PG.
So
See, I would have definitely.
Temple of Doom was the reason we got the PG-13. Well, that's what pushed them over the edge, I should say.
Yes, Jerry, it's the hot Vedic. What were, in your opinion, what were those little silver balls? And what was the kid going to do it? Like when he said, the baby will know what to do with that.
Well, I think they do address it in the TV show, if I remember. Again, I didn't. But they were whatever they needed to be. Clearly, they were. I think they were whatever he would squeeze it, and it would turn energy into whatever he needed it to do. It was just something so advanced that was beyond our understanding.
Yeah, I guess that was the
gist. Did make a comment that I thought was a little off because when they're talking about the figure that he must have made a clone of himself of the dead painter as they referred to him. They said when the government guys are talking, he's like, well, that's because the guys ask, is that something like we can do? And he's like, no, we can't. We don't have the technology to clone a person. And one guy goes, they're about 100,000 years ahead of us. And I'm like, yeah, but we were probably we cloned a sheep. We're not, I don't think we're 100,000 years away from cloning a person. But, I thought that was a little bit of exaggeration. Apparently they thought it was going to take longer for cloning technology to develop.
Bill's saying that the marbles from Men in Black. Man, maybe they were. So this thing came out against, or like right around the same time as Dune, the original Dune, the first Dune, and 2010, A Space Odyssey Part 2. The year we make contact. So it was up against some pretty stiff sci-fi competition. So the fact that it did as well as it did,
I think it's because of the romance aspect of it. I think
because it was different.
It was a good date movie.
It was a good date movie.
Good date movie, and
David Lynch's Dune, less of a date movie, especially when Sting came out.
Yeah, 2010, the year we make contact, not really a date movie.
Not a date movie. So. Unless you just want to watch Roy Scheider in the pool with the dolphins.
Right. Exactly.
Other than that, no.
So yeah. So interestingly enough, actually, John Carter was actually going to consider Jeff Bridges for The Thing and Escape from New York, that he eventually ended up going with Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah, that's right. And he went with Kurt.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm kind of glad he didn't go with Kurt for this one too. I think Jeff did a really good job.
I think Kurt Russell
says he took Mary to Dune.
Russell probably would have worked in this role. I think he's such a he's a pretty good actor. He's pretty versatile. So, but of course,
He's pretty versatile.
would Snake Plissken been the same with Jeff Bridges? Probably not. Probably not.
That's true. That's true.
I think he would have worked in The Thing. I think he would have been fine in that too. I think he would have worked in that movie.
Jeff Bridges in The Thing?
In The Thing, yeah. Instead of Kurt Russell. I think he could have.
Sorry, my dog just being weird. Hey, Billy.
That's okay. Dogs do that.
Dogs do that. Yeah, I don't know, man. Kurt had a little bit more intensity. I think that was kind of needed for The Thing. Jeff's a little more chill, which works perfect for this movie.
I think it's just he would have played it different, but I think it would have worked. I think he could have. Yeah. So that's just my feeling on that.
And why did I write puke? I wrote puke on something. Karen Allen and Jeff Bridges recorded All I Have, that song, Dream, Dream, Dream.
Yeah. Right.
They recorded that for this movie. I saw the video. It's okay, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of silly.
It's cute. I'm a Karen Allen fan, so don't say nothing bad about because.
You know what? She was looking her very best in this movie. She looked beautiful in some of those shots, especially when she was lit up in color. She looked gorgeous. She looked way better than she did in Indiana Jones. Like,
yeah, it was a different character, but there is one comparison to this in Indiana Jones. She screams, "Are you crazy?" the exact same way.
Does she really?
Yeah, if you listen to her scream, at one point in this movie, she said, "Are you crazy?" And I think
that's awesome.
I think it's when he floored it and went through the yellow light. Remember, that was a funny scene.
And they knocked the hay truck over. Yeah,
stop, green means go, yellow means go very fast.
Go very fast.
So, but when the same way she says, "Are you crazy?" there is the same way when she said something about when he's putting the gag back on her when he's not going to rescue her from the tent. And from Baylock, and she's like, "Are you?"
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's the exact. Of course, why wouldn't she say it the same way? But it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's like the Wilhelm scream of.
She and Jeff actually had reasonably good chemistry. Like I mean, they just worked. They did a really good job together. They were looking as recently as 2021. They were looking to reboot this or remake it with Michael Douglas once again. Executive producing it. It got shelved, which I think is wise. It's probably the best. I don't know.
You could remake it, but it would be a very weak, watered down version. I mean,
they'd have to change a bunch of stuff, modernize some stuff.
They'd have to modernize it, give her a newer Mustang, I guess. I don't know.
I guess. Sean Levy was supposed to direct. Let me see what else Sean did.
Why do they? I always say, why do they need to take these movies that did well? They were good movies back in the day. They hold up for the most part to this time. I mean, other than the fact they don't have cell phones and internet and things like that, but why do you need to remake? Just come up with something new. Oh, I know why. Because they just can't come up with anything new. They're, it's like we've written every story.
Oh. Sean Levy is doing the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine, so I'm pretty pumped about that. He did he did Cheaper by the Dozen, Night of the Museum, which is kind of a fun one for kids. A bunch of stuff. He could do it. He could do it. Sure, why not? He did Real Steel, which I really enjoy. Real Steel.
She didn't. She didn't what, Jeff? That's what we want to know. You got to finish that sentence. You can't just leave 3 out.
So I don't know what you guys think. Redo or no redo? I'm looking through.
There's no reason to redo it.
I say no reason to redo it either. I looked through the cast. I did not find a lot of roads, but you want to know one road that I was absolutely delighted to see? The team that there was not a lot of special effects. There were a few special effects, but the one massive special effect was the baby, the weird baby that grows up to be a grown-ass man right in front of her eyes. The team that did that, and where did I write it down, was the biggest names in Hollywood special effects: Rick Baker, Dick Smith, and Stan Winston. They are the best of the best. Right up to this day, they are the best of the best. And in the credits, it would say Rick Baker's team, these guys, Stan Winston's team, these guys, and Dick Smith's team, led by Douglas Drexler. So Doug Drexler did work on this movie. So that's on the baby somehow. We
There you
should
go.
ask him, what did you do?
He
What
must
was
have
your
done the make-
contribution
Well, ask
to this baby?
next time if I remember, next time I talk to him, I will ask him that. So, what did you do, Doug?
What did you do on Starman?
Well,
That you were listed as Douglas
that was way
Drexler.
before. That was way before Dick Tracy, right?
Well, yeah. What year was Dick Tracy?
Late
But I mean,
80s,
he was working already for Dick Smith. Dick Tracy was 1990, so this was 6 years before Dick Tracy.
Significantly before, yeah.
So Doug was still cutting his teeth on Hollywood makeup effects. Good for you, Doug. I'm impressed. I'm impressed anyway.
Kent saying he sculpted some of the heads for the morphing sequence. So there
cool.
you go. Assuming Kent knows what he's talking about. So, but
yeah, Chris is saying Dick Smith. Yeah, soap opera Dark Shadows. Yes, Dick Smith is very famous for makeups. Whereas Rick Baker is more of a prosthetics kind, and Stan Winston, they're more create a creature, put prosthetics on the head kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas Dick's a little more makeups, but yeah, but they all do the same. They all kind of do the same stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. What else can we? Oh, continuity flaws. One of the ones I did pick up.
Well, there was a bunch.
This is like in every movie from the 70s and 80s and even 60s. I don't think they got away from it. Even the 90s, they would do it. Is the stock footage of fighter jets. The two taking off were two different models. And the ones that were flying that actually shot it. Yeah, it was pretty obvious because the two were like Corvair F-102 Delta wings that took off, which are very triangular looking wing, very, very distinct. And then
which aircraft caught my eye?
Tiger Sharks, which again have very stubby wings. So the planes, the two fighters don't look anything alike.
But which aircraft caught my eye were the Hueys that were ostensibly some Cav division. Did you notice the cross sabers?
Yeah, I mean they were. Hueys? Yeah, those were clearly.
And I'm like, okay, it's not First Cav. What is that? Because First Cav would have been coming out of Fort Hood, and I'm like, okay, who are these guys? Are they coming out of Fort Huachuca? They had to have been out of Fort Huachuca in Arizona, right? So, and I'm like literally googling, like, who are these people supposed to be? But you know what? They were just Hollywood helicopters.
Oh, they were just. They weren't even armed.
Kent is taking umbrage with your comment. He says Drex still has some of the head sculpts.
I didn't. So I'm just saying, Kent, you get so upset. I just said I don't know.
No fighting on Valentine's. No fight. It's Valentine's Day. I want to feel the love.
I'm not going to argue.
I want to feel the love.
Being my Valentine, so that's really
Kent's your Valentine now. Can Doug be our Valentine?
Never would. None of the above. So we're good.
Doug's our Valentine.
I just said I didn't know how he knew that. So we still don't know if he's just.
Oh, Kent loves you.
Jeez, y'all need to just step off and just step back a minute. You know what I'm saying? All get a little upset about nothing.
Oh, I want to feel love tonight. It's Valentine's, and we're all here doing this instead of doing lovey-dovey things.
There's at least a group of people here that don't have anything to do on Valentine's Day, including us. So,
Chris already posted pictures. He's already had his lady out for dinner. And Bill is actually watching this with his lady. Sorry, Mary. We're so sorry.
I can't, that's a personal issue. I can't help with that.
So, all right, moving on. What else do I have in my notes?
Backing up his statement. Okay, Kent, we believe you. I was only joking. What
that's it. We've hit everything that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know what else to talk about this movie. There's a lot of little things here.
The only other thing that I would maybe say is John Carpenter specifically wanted to focus on this love story. So he said, let's tone down the special effects. I think he may have toned them down a little too far. I feel like the movie could have used just a little more something. A little more something.
I thought when he was racing, when they had the roadblock using it, or was, I guess, an accident because they had the tanker truck lying on its side across the road. I think they would use it as a roadblock. And he does the thing and he grabs the little ball and he drives through it. I thought one of two things was actually going to happen there. One, they were going to pull an ET and the car was just going to fly over the tanker truck.
That would have been cool.
I think that would have been cool. It would have been kind of a steal from from ET, but it would have
From
been kind of
Nice
neat.
Guys, yeah.
The other thing I thought would have been interesting is if he just drove through the truck, like it became, like he didn't like.
Like right through matter, yeah, like he made it
Like he drove through
antimatter,
matter,
yeah.
like he somehow went to
That
another.
could
Like
be cool.
he did a what's a Buckaroo Banzai. He went through a fifth dimension.
Yeah. Yes.
But and then what
That
they
would have
ended
been
up
awesome.
doing was again very John Carpenter, because it was Terminator when he came walking out of the fire from the exploding tanker truck.
Yeah.
That
You know what? Honestly,
it's the first time we see the Terminator just as a robot.
yeah, he's carrying her. And did you notice there's like a blue
walking out with her carrying her?
There's like a blue halo around him, and I was like, okay, is that a leftover from, like, is that like a function of the effects of the time, or was that meant to be there as his protective, as he's carrying her out of the flames?
I think it was supposed to be the protective thing. That's why I said the little gray balls do whatever he wants them to do. So
I guarantee that a big, huge explosion was infinitely cheaper than trying to make a car fly or truck fly, whatever it was.
I don't know. It would have been
any of that other stuff.
I think it would have been an easy effect to make the car go through the tanker.
Well,
it's that's just a matter of plates. You know what I'm saying? They just I can't believe in 84 that would have been very difficult to do. But anyway, that's not what he did. He blew up because he had a little John Carpenter.
Well, I mean, again, look what they were up against. Dune in 2010. Look at the effects in those movies. Was anything going through anything in those movies? Dune had okay effects. Dune had the weird like shielding that Patrick Stewart was like.
Yeah, they had all kinds of stuff. Yeah, they had all kinds of stuff. There's pretty good effects back then. Come on now. Come on, Star Trek had people beaming through.
Have I not learned anything by doing this show for 3 years with you? No, apparently not.
Come on, that was
apparently not a damn thing.
Clearly. So we didn't really talk about the cast, but I think we talked about the three prime players. The only other one that you kind of recognized that was quite ubiquitous in the 70s and 80s was Richard Jekyll, I guess I pronounced his name. He played that secretary or whatever he was, kind of.
Yeah,
he was in a ton of stuff. If you look up, we don't have to go through, but he's been, like everything. I think the last thing he might have done was like Baywatch in the late mid 90s or something. But
Mickey Jones, the truck driver with the long. There. Yeah, there were faces you kind of recognize as being, kind of prolific back in the day.
They were kind of like staple people.
Staples of the day. This thing was 28. No, that's a lie. 24. This thing cost them $24 million to do. It only grossed 28. But you know what? I feel like it's got itself a nice little, not a cult following, but people have come to love it.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't hear any bad reviews of it.
So it didn't quite. Yeah, they only got one season out of the TV show.
Oh, Jerry, that's a great quote. You know what? Of all the quotes in this movie, that's the best one. Humans, you're at your very best when things are worst. Not to be confused with all of you Earth people are idiots. Well,
it's kind of like in Men in Black where he's talking to Will Smith at the first part, and he's going, he goes, talking about why don't you just tell people about the aliens? He goes, because people are smart, but basically when they get in groups,
one person's smart.
One person's smart.
People are dumb, panicky
animals.
People
are stupid and panicky. Yeah.
Yeah, dumb, panicky animals.
And I think that was probably a very accurate statement.
Yes.
In that movie. And I kind of see that was the same here, where it's like, yeah, we're generally decent. I mean, you look at, and that's a true statement. I think generally across the world, most people are decent people and would probably do mostly the right thing. But there are
I would hope so.
Groups, obviously.
But in a group, there's entire psychologists devote entire studies to like mass behavior, the group effect, the mass effect of people doing stuff. That's how
riots start.
That's how riots start.
So,
which is not good.
I think we've beaten this to death on a Valentine's Day.
It's adorable. Go watch it tonight.
Whatever Valentine canoodling or whatever you might be looking forward to.
They were just chilling and chilling.
Yeah, if you're putting off canoodling for this, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry.
We apologize. We really
apologize for that. So, what does Roy have coming up?
Roy has David Frankham on again. Haven't seen him for a while. It'd be lovely to see him again. He is amazing. If you guys can catch that show, he has so many stories about his storied career. and he'll talk about it. And Phil is he doesn't have a show Thursday night. He will be on the noon politics show, but he doesn't have a show Thursday night, and he'll be doing Friday night freeform on Friday nights. So not too much going on there, but everyone check it out.
Okay.
Oh, well, and then what are we doing? Do you know what we're doing for the next?
Yeah, so we got 2 weeks left in February. So we thought we would do, we always talk about we watched it so you didn't have to. So we're gonna do we watched it so you didn't have to. Bad.
And you don't have to. Bad.
Movies, so don't watch these. And then the following week we're gonna do we watch these and you should watch these as well. So good. So we're going to do the bad.
We will do the bad ones next week and the good ones on the 20th.
Feel free to post up any of your suggestions on those, maybe something that we haven't watched, and we'll give it a go, and then we'll see what category it fits into, at least in our little.
Yeah, world. Absolutely. Or if there's something you want me to watch for these shows, I'll watch it. I got time.
Yep, she's got time.
Not really. Not really.
So on that note, that's all for the show for tonight. I hope you guys have a good Valentine's Day. If there's any weather coming, I know there were some people are getting some weather, I think, this weekend, but
more weather. Well, we just had a fizzle. Like we just had a big fizzle out yesterday. So
yes, it's a warm. It's been a warm winter. I think I heard something about it. An El Nino year. That whole warm Pacific water thing.
Honestly, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll always take less snow, even if it means global warming at this point. Not saying I'm a fan of climate change in general. I'm not promoting it. Don't get me wrong. But if the byproduct is less snow,
they're going to be writing in. Yeah, if the byproduct is less
not
snow,
that upset. So, all right, guys. On that note, I will say good night and live long and prosper, and may the force be with you.
And happy Valentine's Day.
And happy Valentine's Day.